It's nice to actually have this scheduled and actually starting off with some momentum and actually having people on the other side. I feel like it's a little bit easier to get some momentum. But anyways, I'm Kusal Matthew of KooS Key. This has been a nice little passion project, and I feel like I'm sorry it took me so long, but I've finally been able to make it more about you all. The messaging has, I've tried to make it a little bit more bite sized in just one message. Had some really good feedback from a friend, and I'm really trying to go back in and make it a little bit more easier and able to be understood. So check it out. Each one of the videos, if you click it, I put a lot of content that's written that's all based on like helping you based on the video. So click the video description and you'll get a lot more resources. Along with that, there's a lot of other linked videos. So realistically, this healing journey, or whatever, self-efficacy, confidence, whatever you're trying to achieve, this journey is it's gonna go through ebbs and flows. But the one thing I really wanted to kind of talk through and help is just really ensure that people understood that it's just it's gonna be okay, and I feel like there's a lot of heady and really like tough information, and I feel that it's not quite um, as positive as I wanted it to be. So I really kind of want to make these lives, or at least just coming on and making sure that like I have access to anyone on the other side, because I know this stuff is a little it's personal to all of us. So the fact that you're here, the fact that you're at this channel, and the fact that you're willing to subscribe, gives me so much more energy to make sure I have content to help you all on the other side. Like I think I do need to get a little bit more collaboration so that way we can get some people and content that's really there to help people feel inspired and feel that they can do more, that they don't have to give up, that they can, continue the path that they're on. I really want people to believe that they can do anything, and I want people to believe that, times are tough, but things can get better, like I want people to have that endurance where they can believe and not give up. And even if they have to pivot, pivoting is part of life. We should pivot, like if you keep doing the same thing over and over and you're not adding that new experience, then you know what? That's on you. But the thing is, pivoting is realizing that, hey, I've tried this 1,000 times. Every time I've learned this. And you know what? If I do it this way, maybe it might work out. It's learning and applying the things that you've learned through failing. And I think for me, I was talking to my buddy, and I realized that one thing over time with all these embarrassing and all these like really difficult things that have happened, I've had to just go down to each layer. Like I feel like I'm an ogre, and I had to just unravel and work through it all. And I think for people, it's really about feeling okay and then really kind of pursuing that that journey of life, because you know what, like we all have our own issues, we all carry our own wounds, but if you give up, you're never going to be able to create new experiences to get that to get that knowledge and wisdom to be able to apply and to grow. Like it's tough. Like I know doing something and it failing is really hard. And I know that doing something and it not working out, and you're like, hey, like, why am I even doing this? And that's a question that, understanding your why. Simon Sinek is an amazing author. And when things were really difficult in business, for me, it was one of the things that I really focused was about knowledge and reading and about just learning more. And I think for myself, it was really impactful to be able to realize, like, why am I doing this? Why is this happening? And I think a lot of what I learned in this journey of life, and all of the books that I've been reading in these last few years, perspective is really important. And I think making little habits over time and just really changing your mindset can really help you kind of achieve that goal. But creating a mindset isn't something you just do overnight. Like, that's not something that's really normal. And I think the fact that you want to do it is something that you should compliment and, cherish in yourself. And I think if you can work towards kind of having that grace and just having that, like, inner knowing that, hey, listen, like, no one was born perfect and you're just trying like everyone else. Like, just give it your best. I think just trying to do your best is probably the most important thing that you could do. Um, so I'd love to know a little bit more about, you all on the other side of YouTube. Obviously, YouTube is, it's one of the biggest platforms, and the fact that this message is resonating means that there's a lot of you that is looking to feel inspired to unlock and learn and grow. And I want to understand from you all, like, what is it that you want to achieve on this journey? What do you want to, know more of? What do you want to know less of? And I think as I can, work with, the feedback I get over time, I can start applying more and more of that. First it was, my editing was just a little too choppy and people lost confidence. Then it was, this was a little too, long. I was having trouble paying attention, and then it was about me figuring out how to just really work with, getting the message out, So everything has really been an iterative process. And if I expected the first go around to be perfect and that was going to work, it would have never, quite been the result, or it would have not been what it is right now. And I think over time, learning and just doing is what helped me evolve. And as you all, we're all humans in life. We got to work through things and know that life is never just going to be okay. But how can we make it okay? Like, we got to have some hope. We got to have some faith, We got to really work on becoming, and that kind of goes back to the Simon Sinek that I mentioned earlier, is you have to really understand, how do you find endurance and find a purpose, and how do you build a village? And I think with, a lot of that time, that was a lot of what I was searching for. It was really kind of searching for that aspect of myself and about my own, connection to other people. Because I think in business, one thing that sometimes people in power, if they want to hurt you, they're going to isolate you. They're going to pull you away. And that's something I've seen in business, unfortunately, a lot. It's something I see in government and the news. When people are gravitating to one energy and it goes against the masses, then they're going to do everything that they can to, put a negative light, and they're going to make you question everything. And I think questioning everything is important, but you have to understand the why. And I think understanding your own why can really help you build interpersonal connections and build people in your life. There's a lot of people that I've met that I thought were going to be greatest people in my life and who were just going to be there with me forever. Or I thought there's bonds that I met, and these people were going to be this amazing person who's going to be my forever. And I realized that, over time, it's just tough because I can't just expect people to stay. And I think I had this weird loyalty to people and to life and the expectations. And I just assumed that, things would just, people would stay, people would come, and there would just be all these signs. Hey, no biting. Um, and I think, for me in this journey of just embracing more of my own inner light and my own inner energy, a lot of it really stemmed from um, realizing kind of like my attachment styles and my attachments to people and myself and connections um, and I think it's tough because we as society sometimes we tend to, it's like a hair all over me, you know, um, prioritize so many relationships that over time sometimes hurt, and then we don't build enough new relationships that keep our wings soaring, you know? And I think over time it's tough because we just start lying to ourselves and isolating, and we just believe that the more alone we are, the more safer we are. But it's further from the truth because it's kind of like the more we're connected is the more safe we are. Because I think the more intense our feelings get, as we get, lonely and isolated, the harder things can sometimes be. So it's kind of like, why even push through and, connect when it feels like it's going to increase that intensity. But over time, learning how to just kind of let go and, hey, Lily, come here. Come here, Lily. Come here. Luna, don't hit Lily. My cat and dog are fighting right now. Can you see it? I think they ran in. But yeah, so it's definitely an interesting. Lily, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. So, I lost my train of thought. Connections, people, yes. So I think over time, what I realized was I needed to understand, and I needed to realize. Okay, I'm back. So's Lily. Connections and people. Yeah, so it's weird. It's like it's glitching out at the weirdest time. It's funny. I knew someone once who said sometimes these are like kismet moments when electricity doesn't work. But anyways, people and connections. I think for me that intensity came out based on different people, and that's something I learned through human design. It's like this 1980s personality chart thing that they did, and it really kind of connects people, and it connects like the I Ching and numerology and astrology. Anyways, talk about how what I learned in understanding all that is sometimes people just um, bring out different parts of our energy. And I think sometimes those different parts of our energy really become um, like a thing that we need to embrace and create the energy of our life. And if we don't have them, we're like, we can't do it again. And I realize that sometimes that it's like cooking, different people bring out different flavors, and it's like a different recipe. Like someone might be garlic, or they bring out the garlic in me, or they bring out the salt in me, or the fiery pepper in me. And I think that's something I learned in human design and in my own journey, is how to understand that connections are important, and connections aren't just to people, but it's sometimes to the earth, it's sometimes to ourselves, it's to nature, it's to medicine, to knowledge. But I think experience and connection is really what kind of brings people into the fold of like normalizing and reducing that intensity. So if sometimes if I felt a severe intensity with someone, it's because my inner self was trying to come out and be like, hey, there's something going on. I need to really deep dive and understand this. And I think as I was able to understand and let go of my own intensity, it allowed for this creation of time. And this creation of time was really nice because, like, say you spend like an hour just stressing, and then you cut that in half, and now you have like 30 minutes. But you have like 30 minutes left of freedom. What are you going to do with that freedom? You can either let that old stuff kind of creep back in and just keep, being a hoarder, or you could, do that Maria Kondo stuff and minimize your life. So it's really trying to figure out your own path, and people who can bring out the best in you, and people who can maybe show you the light that you haven't quite dealt with. But just know that with people, it's important because you gotta have some faith. You gotta really have some faith in people, because over time we have a lot of negative biases, but as we build and connect and we talk, I promise you that is going to be the best way to desensitize all that intensity that you have, and give yourself sometimes the grace that you deserve. Most people are going to forgive you. Sometimes I can understand why people do the horrible things that they do, because I've had a lot of horrible things have happened, and I think I had to understand why they did those things, and I realized everyone has their own origin story, their own pain, and sometimes you on the other side might just bring out a reminder, and it might be either like an exact version and a triggering of a thing, or it might be like an inverse, like, like, oh, I wish I had something like that, I'm envious, and then it brings out some of this other feelings of negativity and anger and aggression. And I think realizing that that is also a normal thing can help people really kind of maybe forgive themselves a little bit more. And that's really what I'm kind of hoping for, is how can people really, let go and not carry some of that negative burdens and guilt and all that information. So I think for me, understanding that, people have to make their own decision, and I can, help them in their journey, but ultimately it's their choice. And in the past I used to always want to like have people choose exactly what I wanted or exactly what I envisioned, and that used to create more anxiety. And now for me, it's all about embracing that everything is fate. Everything is just intended as it's supposed to be. And I think if people could just give themselves some inner love and self-love and some like patience, it might be nice, because then they can then go back out and be like, hey, listen, I effed up, like, here's what I did, and I bet you they'll forgive you. Some people might not want you back in their life. They're like, all right, like that, they'll let you not carry that burden on anymore. I think, like look at Russell Brand. He's kind of going through some really tough stuff right now, and I feel bad for the dude. Like, I feel bad more for the victims, because I do believe the victims than, but I read his books, and I could tell he had a lot of remorse. He had a lot of like, he accepted his issues. He embraced it, and I bet it was consensual, but he just went a little too aggro, and his issues kind of came up. And unfortunately, like, I think if he just understood maybe what those accusations were and broke down each one and said, this was a scenario that I went through, and he just fucking embraced it and just said, I fucked up, it would be probably a lot easier. But that's not the case, you know. And I'm using a really tough and hard example, but like, you know, I've had so many people who have just blamed me and said really mean things to me because I didn't do what they wanted me to do. And it was like a weird control thing. And even those people, if they would have came back to me and said, "Hey, I just had a rough day, man, and you were just the one who took the fucking wrath," like, man, I would say, like, woman or man, like, I get it, you know, like in business, I don't know how many times I've been stressed and I've just kind of like been curt, and usually I was more curt to a supervisor because they were paid to fucking, you know, take it. But I think it's important that when you are on this earth, like, give yourself the same grace and the same forgiveness that other people that you give to other people. If you don't give other people that, then you know what? Maybe start every day, be positive, create some of that momentum. And I think it allows you to then become just more of who you're intended to be. And you don't have to go through this whole difficult journey of being so grumpy or not knowing because you just don't have a village. And I think having a village is really important in that aspect. So, anyways, I wish I had a little bit more comments or feedback, but the thing is, there's consistently, you know, someone at least here. So I know, you know, y'all are, there's at least someone who is engaged and willing to listen. So I appreciate you on the other side. I know it feels like it's 2222, so maybe, you know, that's some angelic or some auspicious number for you, but ultimately, you know, like, know that on this journey, like, there's going to be a lot of people that you meet, and there's going to be a lot of people that might be a spark of goodness that might be there for you, or maybe you could be there for other people. And I think over time, as you work through each of your own pain and suffering, you know, you'll realize that we're all in this same thing together. And I think for me to not be that broken inner child was to let go of my ego, but that I had to realize that everyone else is hurt and everyone else is dealing with their own stuff. And part of it is just about becoming who you're meant to be, who you are in life, you know, who you are going to be one day. And I think part of that journey is knowing who you were so you can let go of it and just start being okay in the now, you know? Like, it's okay. We're all broken in our own ways, but we're all so perfect at the same time. And I think embracing the flaws and just know that it's okay, you know? Like, and I think every day, if you could just let go of that shame, let go of that guilt, let go of that perfection, or whatever your vice or whatever that pain is for you, I think really becomes a very beneficial thing in regards to your life, because it gives you a sense of peace, it gives you a sense of hope, it gives you that positivity that you need, you know, it gives you that love and connection and that really that inner confidence that you could just go and achieve and become, you know. And it's funny, you know, the more I do this now, you know, I'm really testing out this theory and it's really starting to work. I literally say, you know, hypothetically, say I will quit smoking by next week's check-in. So again, I will quit smoking by next week's check-in because I, Kusal Matthew, understand the theory of health and longevity, and I understand the impact that smoking has on my limbic system, and I will always be a healthy person, and I am loving being healthy and seeing a healthy ecosystem within myself. So for that, I will embrace a life of not t- of living a life of being healthy, where I breathe and don't and reduce toxins from my life. So you see, in that whole long spiel, I was constantly reframing the way that I finally spoke. Yes, it may have gone through my mind, but that's fine. I let the next thought that was positive or affirming come out. And I think if you can learn how to kind of thought hack and change what you say in the moment, you can literally manifest and create so much. So let's see in 1 week from now how that whole bullshit I just said, if I will believe it. And so in a week, I wonder if I will truly be a much healthier person because I find more productive things with the time that I was spending that I wasn't before. So I can guess that majority of you joining right now have probably missed a lot of stuff. I'm Kusal Matthew of KooS Key. I have been on a long 27-minute rant of talking about self-love, about myself, about how to become more about about connecting to you all on the channel, about changing your mindset. There's been a lot of stuff. So I have been talking in a circle for the last 27 minutes. You coming in right now, we're on a whole new time. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is nice to have you join. I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you coming here, and we can maybe start a new cycle. I am running a little low on my battery, so I will push a little bit until I'm ready to say goodbye. Because this was a really good live. I felt I had at least someone here with me the entire time. There was never a moment where I was at zero. So thank you. So truly thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for joining and watching and being part of, this being part of this. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate all the fucking subscriber growth. That's been awesome. I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much. I will continue to make sure that this will be all about you and all about helping you all achieve and be more inspired. The content has evolved and it's going to continue to evolve. And I appreciate you all on the other side. I really do. Because I think at the end of the day, if we all in society don't have people in our life, we don't have a life. So no matter what, like, go be the village you need for the people in your life. Go be that person, and I bet you your life will be so enriched. And I want all of you to just enrich your life. I want you to live a good life. I want you all to be happy. I want you all to live a long life. That's why I say Ayubowan. I want, like, I stole it from Sri Lanka, but you know what? I'm Sri Lankan, I'm Buddhist, like, I really embrace that life, which I really pushed most of my being because it was too sensitive and emotionally sensitive. And I've gotten a lot of shit for that, like, I'm probably a very masculine person, but I'm also very, like, sensitive and, like, and on this Egyptian hermetics thing, they talk about these, the different types of your mind and your energy and how there's masculine and feminine energies. And I'm okay with the fact that, like, there's a part of my stuff, I feel like I'm a butch lesbian, and I'm okay with that. Like, I love, like, I'm nice and gentle, and I have this feminine, that's why I said lesbian, but like, but I don't mean it in that derogatory way. Like, I think it's a good thing, and I think embracing your duality of life is important, and that's really what I think the LGBT community was really promoting, is a lot of equality and a lot of oneness, and I think there is a lot of that, and it's a shame that they've really the people who promote now the message have really hurt the message by making it more and more about really inappropriate and like highly eroticized stuff, and I think they've done a bad job of that, and they've hurt the community and the progress, because I think ultimately it's caused people and families to have difficult conversations and be hurt. And that's why if you look at my first video, I talk about how I was hurt at a young age, and it was something that caused a lot of confusion. And I think a lot of the stuff that's happening in society is causing unnecessary trauma at a young early age. And I think that's why I did the ACE score. It was all about helping people realize, that listen, if you had stuff happen, you carry that shit, you're gonna have so much baggage and so much stuff in your life. So how can you live a better, more authentic life and start letting go of the fear? You can start letting go of a lot of that negativity. How can you work towards being more optimistic? How can you work towards being, like a little bit more genuinely your authentic self? And I want everyone to be that. And I think if we can be more authentic, we can have more authentic conversations, we can let go of stigmas, we can find normalcy, we can find commonality. I want people to realize that, like, man, woman, they, he, she, fuck that. Like, we're all one being. Ultimately, we're all part of a bunch of, like, minerals, chemicals, like, we're a bunch of DNA, we're air, helium. You like, we're the fact that we're alive and that we're here, and that we're not like the inert pieces of planets out there. We're unique. Life is unique. We're all the same. We all just want to exist. We all want to be loved. We all want to have a purpose. And that's okay, like, but we got to let go of some of the other stuff. We got to really let go of some of that old and difficult and the tough moments, because I think when we have these times in our life where we become attached to this identity or this one thing, you miss out on everything else because you're so focused on it. You're not able to listen. If your eyes are seeing, you're not thinking. If your ears are listening, you're not seeing. If your mouth is tasting, you're not pooping. No, I don't know. I don't know how that one works, but I hope you get the gist. It's just more about making initial steps every day. And I want all of you to be, I want you to be more healthy. I want you all to be a better you could be you could be better at any time in life. You could become and change, and I want you to be happy. I want everyone to be happy, but just know being happy isn't permanent. Being happy isn't something that happens every day. Being happy is sometimes a state of mind that we're able to just keep an inner sense of peace and bliss. And I think over time, the more that we are able to have self-compassion, we're able to have just an understanding that we're all one, we're all common. Like, we all cry, we all are born, we're all dying, we're all hungry, we're all thirsty, like we all get like cold at night, you know, we just want people in our life, and it's okay. It's okay to have layers. It's okay to have a sense of connection. It's okay to believe. It's okay to know that you are meant for more than just what you are feeling at this point. You are meant for more. You are meant for a purpose. Right now, it might not feel like that. And maybe it's just life showing you that right now you're just meant to experience. But your time will change. Your time will change. And I want everyone to believe that your time will truly change. It's funny, you know, when we started, it was a nice sunny day. And look, now behind me, it's become thunderclouds, and, you know, it's the sun has gone. Things will change, you know? But I think if I or you just stay craving or attached to a certain thing, we're never going to be able to, we're never going to be able to embrace a full life, because we become more caught up in the chase. And I want people to realize that you're meant for more than the chase. Live in the now, find your inner voice, find some positivity, and hopefully find some inner love. I'm Kusal Matthew of KooS Key. Ayubowan. May you be blessed with a long life. Please share. Um, please share. Please subscribe, and you know, please comment. And you know, my email is on this, so please email me at kusal@kooski.com, or check out my website, and you can just maybe sign up and send a message right there. So Ayubowan, may you be blessed with a long life. Thank you so much. And with that, we are ending at right at 37:37. So hey, that's great.